Hello, my beautiful co-creators. Lilou here for this part 2 with beautiful Lucy in your magnificent Yucatan outfit. I love it. We're gonna have this great conversation, another great conversation, huh?
Oh yes, of course. This costume's name is mestiza. Is
Mestiza.
Mestiza, yes. Is the kind of clothes that they use it. So this is a typical one, all the time white and with broidered flowers all around.
And if you want to know more about that part, and we spoke of the Mayans and
the Mayan Museum, they can just Google at the Mayan Museum in Mexico and Mayan Museum in Yucatan, in Mérida.
Yeah. And what I wanted to say too is that if you want to see the first part, there is the other part too, where we speak of the Mayans and your experience, and we even spoke of healing and so many different things. So, but this video is really about the feminine, because you are this goddess. I can really say this is a Mexican goddess. This is a universal, beautiful, divine goddess that I'm sitting next to. That you definitely master the whole the how can we master? It's a big word, huh? But at least you really got into. You wrote many books on this topic, and you have a background in psychology, and you dedicated your life to this. You have even couples that come and see you, so we can speak of the feminine right now and what it takes to go beyond the suffering and to open up this female energy that we have in all of us, male and female. Because I like to make videos for men and women, not just women.
Absolutely. We don't have to split something that is in conjunction from the very beginning. We're men and women. We even do have in our own psyche and in our own hormones. The woman has a part of a masculine energy and masculine hormones, and women as well, and men as well. They do have estrogens, and they do have the feminine part that really make completion. And now is the time, the really blessed time, in which the consciousness of the world, the psyche, the collective psyche, is really into the peak point in which we can make the leap and make the jump into another kind of consciousness of the relation between a man and a woman. And then we can honor that, and we have to include the feminine principles in any kind of doing an environment and scenarios that we need to perform in our life. So that is the arising of the feminine into the consciousness, into the planetary consciousness. And recently I had an interview. I had the experience to interview Deepak Chopra, who had been my mentor, my teacher, and my friend. And one of the questions that I asked to him was, what about the feminine into society? And he said, definitely, if we do not open our heart and leave behind the patriarchal terms that was devoted just to survival, if we, in that moment, if we do not include the attributes of the feminine, there is no future. Because we cannot continue with this one-sided opinion in which if you want something, you are in competition, you have to portray war, battles, confrontations with weapons. And if we continue like that, the technician and the high sophisticated technicians can really make little weapons that destroy everything. And we don't want that, because humankind had been evolving and developing for long centuries. And we really want to honor the life. We really want to pass by to the next generations and to allow them to really be enchanted by all the beauty that the creation means. Now we are surrounded by plants, by minerals, by this beautiful sky in Chichen Itza, in Yucatan, and all the time the water is whispering to us, the birds are singing and saying hello to us, and all this beauty must be like a present for the next generations.
And I feel it's by tuning into this beauty that then the suffering ends.
Yes, and to bring in the presence, to bring in consciously the presence of the feminine part that is inside of us. Not be like frightened to be a woman, not be frightened to be a man who has the attributes of the feminine inside them. Even though, now I am working with entrepreneurs, very tough person who are really all the time by profit leading and rat race and all this. And they say, please, we are so tired. We are devastated. There is so much stress. And it's a stress that is not required. We can really live with much less effort and stress, and we don't need to be all the time like running our lives into that materialistic world. There are many levels, and the human consciousness could acquire these levels of delight and enjoy, and we as human beings really need little things.
Yeah. What are for you those attributes of the feminine? The attributes.
Okay. The attributes of the feminine first is to feed, is feeding. The first things that a woman does at the very moment of the conception is to give her blood and the air to the fetus, to allow to be feedden and to be nurtured and to be warm and to be in a very nice cozy environment. The interior of the uterus is like a perfect place in which the little ovum is going to develop. So the main attribute is to give shelter and to nourish and to allow the main attribute of the woman is to allow things to happen. It could be seen like, oh, how stupid, you don't have to do anything. No, you have to provide the silent environment. In that silent environment, things happens. Because you put yourself in order to give birth to all this beauty. So when I was trained in monasteries, in Zen monastery and Tibetan monasteries, one of the highest position in a monastery is the position of the cook. Cooks always has like a special mission because they have to prepare the food that we meditators or we students, pupils of the big masters, we need that food, and they know it. So the teacher always have at the end like a gratitude action just for the cook. Now imagine women. We women are a tremendous force in the world. I remember my Zen teacher who passed away, Daizan Mazumi's Roshi. He was a strong Roshi from the Soto tradition and from Rinzai tradition in California. He has his mountain center in Palm Springs. And one day he told me, Lucy, the real bodhisattvas in the world are the women. Women are the one who rescue the sense of life and living. And up to that moment, it was like 25 years ago or so, perhaps more, I don't remember. But when he said so, I didn't really capture the really profound, the deep meaning of that phrase. But as long as I've been getting a gray hair and getting my age, I turned myself and I said, absolutely true. Let me tell you some of the statistics. the world statistics, and mainly in Western societies. For the beginning of the last century, the university was forbidden for most women. So it was up to the 20s, 25, up to 30s that they opened. They opened the teaching to the big audience of women. And in Mexico, I remember that I recall the figures, and it was in 1917, the Mexican university was the first university in the whole continent. We have a very strong tradition in Mexican National University. Well, they have just 17 women in all the school. So women was not allowed to study. Women has not allowed it to receive the inheritance from their parents. There must be a man assigned to them because they were so full in the criteria. And I am talking about Europeans, not just Mexican or American people. I am talking Europeans. They cannot receive the money or the properties when the father die if they don't have a husband, a son, a son-in-law, or at least a grandson who administrate that. So you cannot handle your own money because they think that we were stupids. For a long time, remember that for a long time, we women, the church was not that sure that we have a soul, as well as indigenous. They think that they do not have a soul. So we came from all that kind of thinking.
Where the sex, the money, and the education or the intelligence was kind of the how we were held back.
Mm-hmm. The trilogy that hold back the women consciousness to really take up front and do what they wanted was the trilogy of power, of men power, of patriarchal society. And this was first, it was sex. They really control the women's sex by two things. One is that we can get easily pregnant and we can die, because in those times women easily die before the penicillin and discoveries, and because they have this kind of judgment attitude in which you could be a prostitute, a whore, or you are like a kind of saint because you're a mother and a wife. And those are the roles. You could be a servant, you could be a prostitute, or on the other side, you could be a mother, a daughter, or a nun. And it was a whole role for women. You have no other role. You have to be a daughter, and you perform as a daughter. You have to be a mother and a wife. And then the script was absolutely very well described. So, or you could be a prostitute. And if you're a prostitute, a courtesan, a whore, whatever you can call it, then you are a woman for luxury and for pleasure. And they allow you to read because they want you to read for them. That's why. They knew how to read. They teach the courtesans to read because they read like small poems, some poetry, some short tales or a novel, and it was like a kind of the enchantments of a courtesan. So, but now, what I want to really stress is the jump that we are now.
Yes, it's good to speak of the what's happening.
Yes, but now, I mean, I am telling you 1920, and now that we are in 2013, we are 51% of the curriculum in Mexico, at least in the whole country, and as far as I understand, in the Western society, 51% of the curriculum in the universities are women. So just imagine the tremendous jump. Now we can really handle our finances. Now we have the right to get a divorce. Now we have the right to really begin expressing ourselves.
And now we can use our intuition and not be witches.
Not be witches and not be burned in green wood fire, yes, and not to be put in jail inside of a dark room and you really collapse it. So what is going on now? Now we really have to awaken ourselves and to really trust in our inner intuition, trust in that the time of being submitting and treated like slaves and receiving the script of our life is ending. And now that this is end and we have opportunities, now the difficult step is going to come, because it's not that easy. It's not that easy to jump from several generations that we can look back and see them that really submit to the patriarchal kind of dictamen of approach, to now really say, hey, do you know something? I really want to say something about that. I have my own opinion. Yes, because first you have to have an opinion. And to have an opinion sometimes is not that easy. For many centuries we stole the opinion from them, from the men. That is the logos part of it, which is the second way of the power of the triology. And the third, which is the more difficult, I think, is to be a productive woman, in terms that we have to produce our own sustain in the world through our life. It doesn't matter if you receive a big heritage. It doesn't matter if you come from a very rich, very middle, or very poor family. You have to provide yourself. Because if you don't have that experience, somebody is going to take power over you.
Abuse,
yeah.
manipulate.
Absolutely. And submit because you have the children on the top, and then you really want the best for the children, and sometimes you have to swallow everything that you don't want because you don't want to deprive the children because that.
Yeah. And the way for this evolution, or the way in communicating all that, doesn't have to be and shouldn't be the same way, I guess, than the patriarchal way. It doesn't have to be forceful and tough and hard and all that, because part of the qualities and attributes of a woman is the softness and the lovingness. And once I feel we honor ourselves, then we can truly communicate with that and change things in a smooth way. It doesn't have to be a revolution or something very bloody.
No, I mean, let me tell you, the bloody part and the very strong part is inside of you. That you really, yes, that you really allowed yourself to mean your worth. This is the difficult part. Then if you say, I don't want you to treat me this way, you have to follow with that position. It doesn't matter what comes. And this is the very strong part, the part that really demands for women consciousness to say, enough, it's enough, and it doesn't matter what does it take me. Perhaps I lose some of my luxury style life, or I lose some of my relaxing. Sometimes it's relaxing, sometimes it's not luxury, Lilou, because you need energy to really make these movements. And some women are lazy. They say, what for? Let him decide. Let him do. I just want to be hanging around and going and coming with the children. And when the children grow up, I want to be with my friends, and let him thinking that he is the ruler in life. No, this is not a good position. This does not takes you to the point that your personal life demands to be. Okay? Because we are a unique project of creation. There are not two yous in life. They are not two faces alike, even though in twins. as well as they grew up, then you see the difference between one twin to another. So if there is not two faces, there are not two destinies. Is each individual has their own destiny to fulfill in their lives. Mm-hmm. And if you take your life and your consciousness, and because you are lazy or you are afraid of you are paralyzed, you put it into the hands of somebody else. Could mean a male authority. It doesn't mean if your boss, if it's the judge of the court, if it's your husband.
Or your children even.
Oh, yes. Most of the time, the children. You decide, I don't want to be in the middle of that. You decide. No, what is up that you decide? You have to take the risk of decide. Perhaps sometimes you commit mistakes, but it doesn't matter. Then you take the little lagrimitas, the little tears from your eyes, and then you stand up and you say once again and once again until you conquer yourself. Then you conquer yourself means you are authentic. You are not into the demand of fashion. You don't have to torture your own body because you have to fit into. You get not depressed because you get older or fatter or whatever. You are just so happy to be the total incarnation of the creation, because we women we are born with this consciousness. It doesn't matter if you give birth to children or not. We know the way that the creation happens. And that's why we don't need to compete. You know, people sometimes they miss important part of history in human life. For example, there is no one war in the whole human history that had been performed by women. There is no. Even though the governments tried to make through the army big kind of opening that you could be a soldier for your country. Soldier? Let me tell you, I see them. I see the police girls here in Mexico and in the United States. Yes, you are a police, but when you turn your face, you have your beautiful lashes and you have your pinky thing in your lips because you're a woman. You cannot, even though the toughest part of your animals is excited and perhaps you have to train into bumping and shouting and hitting, this is not ourselves. We.
So what do you think of the story of Jeanne d'Arc? The one that was burned.
Well, she has a mystic mission. This is totally different. She did it because she was the leader. But she did not arise an army of women. It has not happened in the history of human. I mean, could be women leaders that really move people to do something. And I cannot imagine that. And if I imagine that, it will be terrible because the dark side of a woman is really barbaric. You don't want to be in front of that, Yes, it's really barbaric. When we have a reason, we are really mean. I remember now there is a small community in one little town in Mexico through the around the Mixteca Potosina, and these women are very strong in the community. And one day, a woman came from another little town, and she was like seducing all the men, and they were angry because nobody mingled with the men. So they joined together and they say, what are we going to do with this woman? Okay, we're going to give her an advice. So they give her an advice and she didn't take care about it. She threw up the thing and she said, every man loves me and you are a stupid woman. Poor she. Poor she. Poor she. They took her and put some chili in her vagina. Yes. Okay. When we women have to be mean.
I'm still under the effects. Yes.
We're really mean, you know. I just said something and you know it. But we really need a reason. A really big reason.
Sorry, I never heard this before.
If someone is going to steal your partner, the father of your children, your husband, and you really say, hello, he's my husband, don't mingle with him, don't mess around with him. And she was insisting, okay. So now you know.
But the thing is that that brings jealousy too, and I would love to kind of close on this and so that we learn how to deal with each other as women too, because there is the whole beauty thing and the whole I'm better, I'm less, and the comparison and this is a torture for most of us. So what is your advice in this so that we can collaborate and be one?
Then we have to understand that the feminine energy has both parts, the light and the shadowy part. The shadowy part is very, very deep and profound, and we really could be mean. And the dark part of a woman inside a man or inside of a woman is very, I could say, very sophisticated. Okay. But we're not going to talk about it because everybody knows about that kind of energy. What we really want is to exhort the audience that you have thousands and thousands and millions of people listening to you, Lilou, to really awake about this kind of side that the humankind are so needed right now, which is the attributes of the feminine is feeding, nurturing, compassion, tenderness, seductiveness. Instead of pushing, you can be seductive. And you know, feminine seduction opens doors amazingly. I am convincing
between women. But from the main advice between women and women, how can we collaborate and work all together instead of feeling separated, because we can feel that.
Okay, this is a long way that we women have to do, that we have been being the worst enemy for us. So we have to become like collaborators, like joining our shoulders one to another and really helping one to each other. And then we have to transcend envy. Envy and pride are the enemies to do that. Why I am going to give her that? It cost me a lot to come to this point in my life. Now you pay your price. No. If you can give a hand, give a hand. I absolutely can confirm that if you do it, thousands of good things will come to you, will pour into you, because you are giving your hand to another woman, to another sister. Perhaps one of them will take it, perhaps some of them will betray you, but it doesn't matter. It's just the attitude, the movement to really support and to really do the opposite that we had been doing for long centuries, because we had been trained to really be mean to another woman. So first
it's like the places were limited. There was a limited amount of women that could access.
Absolutely, it's what I call the second kind society. We women are the second kind society. The first are men.
Second kind
society. I mean, you have levels, and the VIPs.
Oh yeah, so the second class. Yeah.
We are a second class. We are a second class, and when you have a second class consciousness inside yourselves, because all these memories are hidden inside yourselves, and it arises at the moment that you confront a different situation. So,
how about first class ladies? Let's bring on the first class.
Yes, let's go to the first class,
Yeah.
but
The loving class, as Sonia Choquette says, traveling at the speed of love.
at the speed of love, at the speed of beauty, at the speed of sensuality and good taste and something very important, being authentic. If you are this fat and you are this short, be happy. Yes, be happy because you are the portrait of the creation, and then you can split into many people your enchantment, your magic. Every woman has magic in their hands, magic to cook, magic to bless, magic to make love, magic to kiss, magic to turn things. I mean, the feminine energy has this attribute of turning. I mean, could be a confrontative people fighting one to each other, and if a woman with a very center energy sits in the middle, suddenly she turns the energy, and with a couple of nice words and a beautiful smile, it turns. And nobody understands. And you don't need that everybody understand, because you are not behind fame or power. You are because you want harmony and flexibility.
Okay, all ladies out there, you know what you do. Bring on the magic. Thank you so much, Lucy. Oh my God, are your books translated in English too, or
no yet? But where Goddesses is going to be into a publisher in United States. I really want to have that, and I am looking forward good publishers in Europe too.
Publishers out there, European and Americans, bring it on, because this is important information to get out. I'm so excited that we get to meet and spend this moment together. Thank you, Lucy.
Thank you very much, Lilou, and thank you for all your audience.
Much love, my beautiful co-creators and women out there. Please share this video with other women that you know, or maybe you're a man watching this, maybe to a sister, to a mother. This is spreading the good, this is spreading joy, this is spreading knowledge that we need to share right now. So I send you much love from beautiful Ocan in Mexico and Yucatan. Big kisses.
Bye-bye.